Hey guys, I am so excited to have a guest painter for you. And so our guest painter, Laura, welcome.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Before you teach them this beautiful, you want to show them the artwork they can use for their paint parties. Before you teach them this, which will be in just a second, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name's Laura. I'm a college student. I'm in school to become an elementary teacher. I would love to be an art teacher one day.
It's so fun.
It is, yeah. I can only imagine. But I've been painting for, I started right before high school painting. I've been an artist my whole life. I've always loved drawing, but I started acrylic paint on canvas right before high school and just really took off with it. I just really had a passion for painting and just realized how fun it was. And so, yeah, I've created a lot of paintings over the past years, and yeah, just
a lot. A lot. Yeah, you'll have to follow her because, she's doing a little mini tutorial, handwriting tutorial for y'all. So what is your Instagram?
My Instagram is Lifejoy Art, and I'm also on Facebook, Lifejoy Art by Laura. So that's just my little business that I sell. You can also buy my stuff on Etsy.
Okay.
I have prints and ink prints and some paintings on there. So yeah, give me a follow.
Yeah, she's being so bashful. Okay, so when I first started teaching at Cornerstone, when I was teaching there part-time, building this business up, oh my gosh, Laura came in. She was, she is like God-given talent, I'm telling you. Like something that would take me hours to paint, she would paint in like 20 minutes. I mean, this girl is, you can tell that God has like totally given her the gift of art, and it's just been an honor to watch her just go crazy with it.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. Yeah, she's so talented. So yeah, so I'm excited. We might have her in for another guest spot. So I'm excited to see what y'all think and how these turn out. So anything you want to say specific about the painting?
This painting, I love this painting. It's super fun to create, especially because it's just, there's no like rhyme or reason to it necessarily. You can just add, as you can see, it's kind of, the bubble wrap and the splatter paint, and it's just super fun to create.
Oh, you added some stencils
yeah,
too,
some stencils, just all sorts of colors, and yeah.
And don't worry, it looks like it's complicated, but she's going to totally break it down, so it's so simple.
That'll be great. Yeah.
Okay, so y'all get to painting. The tutorial is going to happen now, and so if you don't mind, there's probably spots in there where you just want to crank up your music and listen and just have fun painting. And we just would love to see what you come up with, and make sure to follow Laura so you can see more of her stuff.
Yes, thank you.
Y'all enjoy.
All right, so for this American flag design, I came up with this design a couple years ago now, and it's just super fun and very fun to create. It is perfect for like a 4th of July, as we're coming up on that event. So anyway, so let's get started. I'm going to start with just white paint for kind of the background of the stripes. So what I'll do is just get white, and it doesn't have to be a whole lot, but we're just gonna kind of start putting some white on here. And the nice thing about this painting is that there's a lot of room for error, and that's why I like it. It's just super, as you'll see, we just add a whole lot, and there's not really any rules to what you add. It's just super fun. We're just giving a little bit of a background, and right over here is going to be the blue part, just a little rectangle. So we'll just kind of leave that general area empty as we work on this white. And it doesn't have to be perfect at all. This painting is a little bit more kind of abstract, not completely, but a little bit. So we're not looking for perfection. Just continuing our white all the way down, just a light coat. We don't want it to be too heavy because we want it to be able to dry quick so that we can keep working on other things. Get this white finished, we'll start working on the blue upper left corner. So that's looking pretty good. Just really light, just really trying to emphasize that does not need to be a heavy coat. at all. I'm gonna make sure it's really smooth. And I'm just using this brush. It's 2 inches, just all purpose. It's lightweight, a soft brush. But you can really use anything for just this part. All right, so I think that looks good. We're gonna go into our blue. So I'm gonna use this dark blue acrylic paint. You can use really any blue. I'm gonna stick to dark blue, but you could use lighter blue, really anything that floats your boat. So let's see, what brush? Okay, I'm just gonna use kind of a wider brush, like a 3/4 inch brush for this part. And if you want, you can, I'll probably just freehand, but if you want, you can just put like a smaller canvas or just like some sort of smaller rectangle and like trace it to have that section. I'll go ahead and just put that there so you can see kind of the amount of blue we're going for. Okay. So I'm gonna stand up so I can get a better angle on this. So we're just gonna come about right here to the side and then up. Maybe a bit bigger. If you're freehanding, you want this rectangle to be almost like halfway between the top and the bottom of the canvas, and then about halfway between the left and the right. And this is getting a little bit of the white mixed in with it, but that's okay because we want everything to kind of blend anyways, and we can have some different color variation. That's completely fine. I might add some more navy to this color. It's pretty bright, which is fine. But I might just add a little bit of navy, make it a little bit darker. Okay, but then we'll just sort of fill it in on this canvas, and it does not have to be perfect. Again, this piece is not about perfection, just about having fun and creating a beautiful flag. So yeah, I'm not even worrying about like covering it all. I'm gonna actually try and leave like maybe a little bit of white showing like here, just to give a little bit of texture. I do want that to be a little bit more blended. Okay, so that's looking pretty good to me. I think I'm happy with that. And you kind of want to make sure that there's not like any big blobs of paint anywhere. You want all the paint to be fairly smooth. Okay, so I'm just gonna stick that brush in that water. And let's see. This white, yeah, that's looking pretty wet. So we'll just let that dry for a little bit. Let me think, what else? You know what, I think I may have a bit too much white on here. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of towel and just go ahead and wipe some of that off. Just to help it dry faster. You don't necessarily have to do this on your painting, but just for the sake of the video, I'll wipe this down a bit so we can keep going. Once we get our stripes and kind of the basic flag figured out, then we can start adding all the fun stuff and start adding some different colors, and just that's the fun part for me. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and start on the red. So let me see. Actually, you know what? I did say I was going to add some navy to this blue, so I'm going to go ahead and do that and kind of show how we can blend a little bit if we want to use some different shades of blue. So again, I'm going to take one of the bigger brushes like this, the one I used for the rest of the blue. And I just have some navy here. It's just a bit of a darker, it's a little bit more muted. I'm just gonna throw some of this in here. What I like about this painting is anytime I've done it, it's always turned out different than the time before. There's really no right or wrong way to do it because you always end up blending differently and using different techniques and mainly different colors when we start adding a bit different colors. So no two are alike, and it's just every painting will be unique, which is just very fun. I think that looks all right for now. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on the stripes. I'm going to use a red. I prefer a bit of a darker red as opposed to bright, but you can go whichever way you want with the red. Let's see what this will turn out to be. Kind of bright, that's all right. And for the stripes, I'll freehand them. And freehanding is great for this painting because, like I said, it's not supposed to be perfect. We're not working to be perfectionists. So if you want to freehand, that's great. If you want to use like a meter stick or a ruler, or even like, I don't know, like the edge of another canvas or something to kind of pencil out your lines, that is completely fine. I'm going to use a foam brush, and I'm going to start right underneath this blue because I want to make sure that a full red stripe is right underneath this blue, as opposed to like having, if I started up here doing red stripes and then like having this awkward white space in between. So I'm just going to start with this red right directly underneath the blue. And the foam brush is nice. If you are freehanding, I strongly recommend using a foam brush because that's like the exact width that you want your stripes to be. So it's helpful to just go right across. Let's see. I like to make sure when I'm doing my stripes freehanded, if I'm doing them freehandedly, I like to kind of just make it, like start by just basically doing one stripe right across. Even if it's not completely filled in, that's okay because then I can go back and fill it in like so. And also I'm going to mention right now that I don't necessarily want, see how over here it's a little bit darker, it's really completely covered with paint. I don't necessarily want that all throughout the stripe, so here it gets a little bit more, what's the word, distressed, I guess, and I like that because it just provides a bit of texture. If you just have like solid lines, that's fine, but I think it's just a little bit more exciting this way. Okay, so then we're just gonna see, okay, so that is about the white stripe. Here we'll have another red one, and we'll go right across, just like before. And we'll start here all the way. Very nice. Cool. And we're going to come back and, oh sorry, that got out of line. We're going to come back and add some more of the add some more like bubble wrap and some stencils over top of the lines in the blue as well. So it does not have to be perfect, because anything that you don't like, we can cover up later. And then again, this other stripe. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep doing these stripes. And so you guys can just listen to music or whatever while we work on this. All right, so right here, you probably saw that I just sort of dabbed on the edge of this blue. So you want to make sure that the red lines meet the blue, but we don't want to like mix those colors. So if you want to just wait a little bit longer or kind of blow on the blue to if the edges are a little bit wet, that's completely fine. So I'm just going to make sure that the red meets, like so. And I'm standing up to do these lines. It's a little bit easier for me to have kind of a bird's eye view on the piece. So if that helps, you can go ahead and stand up. It helps to make sure that they're going straight, if you're freehanding especially. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more down here. And I'm going to go ahead and mention that I like, when I do paintings on canvas, I like to cover the edges with the color, so kind of like to make it look like the paint has wrapped around the edges. So if you want to do this, it just gives it a little bit more of a finished look, I think, to go ahead and, okay, it's just kind of like that, as opposed to just having them stop. If that makes sense. Of course, if you're going to frame it, then it doesn't matter, but it's just something I like to do to make it look a little bit more finished. Okay, so we're pretty much finished with the stripes. If you want to go back and make them a little bit darker in places, now would be the time to do that. Just kind of go back over the stripes. And I think by now, yep, this blue should be nice and dry. And I'm just going to emphasize again that we want to make sure, whatever we're doing on this canvas, we want to make sure that there's not like blobs of paint or anything really thick, because we want to make sure that it's lighter layers so that they dry quicker, so we can add more faster. I'm all about painting fast. Okay. I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking. I might just go back in around the edges of the canvas. Kind of make that a little bit better. Maybe back over here by the blue. And if you want to add any other, like a darker red or anything, now would be the time to do that. If you want to add darker, here I'll add a little bit. This is basically the same color, but just for the sake of the video, if you want to add darker, I would just start at the edges and kind of just pull that extra color in to kind of blend it. We're really, for the stripes, we really want to always work from the edges to the center so that the edges, like look how much darker this is than in the middle. Because we want that kind of like distressed, worn look in the middle. All right, that looks pretty good to me. All right, so I think we're ready to start on the stars and work on this blue a little bit more. All right, so what I did when I first created this painting, what I did for the stars, because I don't trust my freehand stars. Stars are kind of tricky because, I don't know, they're just tricky. And so what I did when I first made this painting was I just cut a little bit of cardboard. So this is just from, I think it was like a cereal box or something like that. Just like that thin cardboard. I just cut, so I drew with pen or pencil or whatever, a star on the cardboard and then cut that out so I can use that as a stencil, I guess, or a stamp, to place the stars. Because it's better to freehand on cardboard that you can kind of redo than on the actual painting. But if you would like, you can freehand the stars. Okay, so I'm going to take, I'll maybe do one of each. I'll freehand one and I'll also show the stamp because I'm not sure what you guys will be doing. I want to make sure that all the bases are covered. All right, so I'm just going to take white on just a little brush, really any size brush, and paint directly onto this cardboard like so. It doesn't have to be completely covered. Not too much paint, because if you get too much then it will kind of smush and the shape of the star won't be clearly defined. This might be interesting how this turns out, but we'll see. So I'm just gonna, I know on the actual American flag all the stars are like the point up, but you can do them whichever way you want, and we're not doing all 50. So that's the nice thing about this project also, is we're not drawing 50 stars. So what I do is I just kind of, I started in this corner and just kind of sort of press down that stamp and up it goes. Okay, so now of course that's not probably as white as I want it to be, but I'm gonna go back later and add some more white for this. Oops. For this, I really just want the basic outline of the stars. And again, if you are comfortable doing this freehand, please, more power to you. If you are great at freehanding stars, I respect that because I am not. Alright, oops. So I'm just doing 3 going down here, stamping. It does not have to be perfect. If you haven't caught on by now, I am not a perfectionist at all when it comes to painting, usually. At least paintings like this that are more abstract, more like they're not supposed to be perfect. Okay, and then I'm going, so I did 3 stars this way. You can do your stars however you want to, but I'm doing 3 right here, and then I'll come in between these 2 and do a 4th one. Stamp that there. And then I'll do a 5th one. Oops, that little piece of cardboard came off. That's okay, just take that off. Do number 5. And you can do, I would not suggest doing stars any smaller than this. You can do them a little bit bigger, but I think, I maybe would have preferred if these were a little bit bigger. Yeah, but definitely not smaller than that. Unless you want to do a lot of stars, then they could be smaller. So I have 3, 3, and then I'm just going to do 1, and the last one, the last one right here. Maybe I could have done them closer together. I probably would have preferred that. It's been a while since I've done this painting, so I don't exactly even remember all the details of how I did it. Anyways, all right, so I'm going to take a small brush, and you do not have to do this if you don't want to. I'm just going to add a little bit more to the stars that are already here, and I'm not filling them in completely. You can if you want, but I really think this flag has, I'm gonna say it again, I know I said it 1,000 times, but it just does not have to be perfect. So, I know I sound like a broken record, but it does not have to be perfect. And yeah, even stars, they don't have to be perfect. Which is so nice when you are creating a painting that doesn't have to be perfect. It just leaves so much more room for error. So just a little bit more white on these stars in the middle, just, and they kind of look distressed like some of the colors in the red, some of the stripes do, which I just like that look. A little bit more character, a little bit more, I forgot the word I was just going to say. Okay, we're almost getting to the fun part, I promise. One thing that I will say, I just thought of, when I'm painting, I forever get paint on this side of my hand, and then as I'm painting, I like smudge everything. So I'm just gonna say that just keep in mind that you don't want to try not to rest your hand on the painting, because that just can sometimes cause problems. All right, I think I'm happy with the way these stars are turning out. Maybe, I kind of wish I'd done it a little bit bigger, but I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, and the nice thing is that this red is basically dry, at least in the middle it is. But the white definitely is. So what we're going to do next is, to wash my fingers off, got paint. Is we're going to add some colors in the white parts. And these colors don't have to be red or white or blue. We're just going to add some, what I like to call fun colors, because obviously the actual American flag is only red, white, and blue. But we're going to take some artistic liberty and add some more colors of our own. So for this part, you can do any colors that you like. I like to stick with some colors that will pop, so I might do orange, because orange and blue are opposite on the color wheel. I might add some, let's see, okay, I'm definitely going to do this color, aqua green, because who doesn't love aqua? And I'm also probably going to add, I would suggest maybe adding 2 colors, because you don't want to get crazy. So I'm going to add this aqua green with this red and blue. I just love the way that these 3 colors look together. And goodness, I cannot decide on the other color. Let's see about maybe some yellowy oranges. Yeah, and we're not adding much with these colors. We're not doing much. So just a little bit of paint will do you. A little dab will do you. All right, so here I have my 3 colors, my aqua and my orangey yellow that I'll probably combine to add. So for this you can use, I would suggest using some sort of wide brush because we're going to go into these, on these white parts. So really any wide, you could use a foam brush. I would suggest using a foam brush. I don't think I have another one that's clean. Let's see. So I'm just going to use this. All right. Let us see. All right, I'm gonna start with the aqua greeny color and add just some hints into this white. You can choose any stripe. I would not add it to every stripe because that just gets a little bit chaotic. So I'm just gonna start again on the edge and pull that aqua onto this white stripe. Just like that. I mean, really that's all you need because it's just like a suggestion of a little hint of aqua. And then I might do one over here. This is where there's really no rhyme or reason to this, to when you're adding all the fun parts. I did one on this side, one on this side, a little bit kind of close together, but not completely, not like next to each other. But seriously, you can really do whatever you want on this part, which is why I love it. And then I'm going to combine some orange and yellow to create some mix here. I still got green on the brush. Okay, I'm just gonna get a new brush for that. This time I'm just gonna use a smaller one. You don't have to. You can use the wide brimmed brush again, or wide brimmed, wide bristled. I'm not even sure if that's what you call it, but whatever. Okay, I'm going to add some just down here on this bottom white, just kind of on the edge of this flag. Okay, and as soon as you do something on a painting, you might regret it right away. I kind of don't like how orange that looks. Yeah, I'm gonna add a bit of yellow, which will kind of just blend, I guess. But I might come back later and just add some more yellow on that because I don't know why, I just don't really care for that orange and red right beside each other. So that happens on your painting. If you change your mind about something that you don't really like, you can always just go back and paint over it once it's dried. I'm gonna look and see. Here we go. So I think what happened with that yellow is I used like kind of a mustardy yellow, which I didn't appreciate so much. I'm gonna go back and do bright yellow. This is called, oh, brilliant yellow. I love that. Brilliant yellow. I tend to add yellow to almost all of my paintings because I just think, well, it is just such a happy color. So I always, it seems, end up having a hint of yellow in almost all of my paintings. Oh yes, I love this. Look at that. It's like so bright and just happy. So I'm going to add this yellow. Okay, so I'm going to break my own rule. I'm not going to start on the edge this time. I'm going to make sure that I don't have a lot of paint on the brush, so I'm going to wipe some off. And I'm going to start right here in the middle, very lightly. I do not want to press heavily on the canvas because then I'll have like a yellow streak and I don't want that. I want to just blend into the white, so I'm going to start really lightly. A good word is like dusting. I'm just dusting the canvas with the brush really delicately throughout the middle of this white stripe. Do you see how you can barely see that? It's not bold at all. It's just a hint of yellow. Oh yeah, that's nice. I like that a lot. I'm gonna go back and add some on top of this gross orange. Now, if you want to use orange and mustard yellow on your painting, that is completely fine. I just didn't prefer it for this particular painting of mine. Okay, so now we've gone from just plain red and white stripes to adding a bit of color and just a bit more fun to our painting. Okay, so let's see. What should we do next? Alright, so from this point on, we have the basic red and blue covered. So from this point on, there are no rules for how you want to paint or what colors to use. I'm going to start with some bubble wrap. Okay, so next I'm just gonna use some bubble wrap. And I don't need a lot of this, so I'm just gonna rip some off of this big roll. Bubble wrap is one of my favorite things to use because, first of all, it's usually free because it just comes in packages and whatnot. So I have like 3 trash bags full of it in my art closet, just taking up space, but it really comes in handy because it really provides some texture and a way to add like pops of color to really any painting. And so I just find that it's just super fun to use. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to take this color blue that I used for this part and add some bubbles right here on this red. So I'm going to take a larger fan. It doesn't have to be a fan. It really doesn't matter what kind of brush you use. But something larger so you can get a lot of paint on. And then I'm going to get a dollop of paint and just paint it onto this bubble wrap. Just doing it here so you can see. And you don't want it to be like globs of paint, but really evenly distributed, if that makes sense, onto the bubble wrap. And what I like to do is, actually not really evenly distributed because that's not true, because I do have a bit more paint on the center. And then as I'm going out away from the center of this part of bubble wrap, it's getting less and less. So see how, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a bit more paint on in the center of this bubble wrap, and then as it gets to the edges, it becomes lighter and lighter. Alright, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to place this onto the canvas, pat it down, and up it goes. And then you have a nice texture. Ooh, that turned out nice. Pretty happy with that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to do a little bit, so the thing with bubble wrap is that it really depends on where you place it, where it will, or where you apply pressure is where it will stamp, right? So I'm applying a bit more pressure to the stripe side, but I still want a little bit on that blue rectangle. So I'm just going to pull that up. Yeah, I like the way that turned out. So I have a little bit of blue here, but not too much. Alright, next I'm going to do the same thing. I'm still using this blue. I'm going to add a little bit more, but not a whole lot. I mean, seriously, like not much at all. A little bit more blue, because I'm going to also add white to the side of it, and you want to blend that on the bubble wrap. Blend that white, because I'm going to place this one, actually I'm going to cover this even more with white, and that's not even white, but blue. Blue, or white, onto the edge of this and kind of around, because I want to blend it. Okay, so this time what I've done is I have some blue here, and then I've added some white around because I'm going to put it on the stars. So right in this area here. Pop, pop, pop. Perfect. Okay, I like that. And this may look kind of silly at this point, but once we start adding more and more, I really think that it will start to really take shape and look really nice. Hopefully. So I just add a little bit more here. I might add some more here with some leftover paint. I don't want to overdo it because there comes a point where you just need to step back and let it be. So I'm going to let that be the blue bubbles for now, at least. Okay, so I'm going to do add some red. Do some red bubble wrap. And I suggest just using the same sheet because it doesn't have to be perfect. And so if we get a little bit of blue mixed in with this red, it won't be the end of the world. Okay, so red on here. Red, 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 red. So yeah, it looks kind of purple. That's fine. And I'm just going to place this right here. Mainly onto that white stripe. Okay, and up. Nice. And I'm going to do that again, a little bit lighter. Perfect. One more up here. And in the corner. So this is nice because we're kind of just using up the paint that we used for the stripes and the blue part. Just left getting rid of some extra paint. All right. I'm trying to decide. You know what? I think I'd like to add some more colors in this on these two white parts. I think I will do just a hint of yellow here. Maybe even a hint of yellow like right here. Yeah, I like that. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna take just this sort of small brush, a smaller brush. There's some yellow on there, but I don't care. And I'm gonna take some white and just going to very lightly apply some lines on this blue. I don't have much paint on the brush. I'm not gonna press hard, but I just want to add some white. Not a lot at all. Just a little bit of texture. So I have hardly any paint on the brush, and I'm pressing so lightly that it's really just taking up the texture of the canvas, that sort of roughness. And I'm gonna go right over these stars with just this teensy bit of paint I have left. So see how that just provides a little bit of texture to what was before just really a blue rectangle. And you know what else I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do the same thing, but with red. Hardly any, I mean, it's just a little bit of paint on there. And I'm gonna do the same thing right over the stars. Really no rhyme or reason to it. Oh yeah, there we go. Oops, a little bit more. Next, I'm gonna add, okay, this is one of my favorite paints. It's an Artist Loft Old Gold. And I love it because this shimmer that you can, I don't know if you can see, but it's shimmery. Who doesn't love shimmery paint? It really just adds some sparkle to any painting. And the thing about it is that the shimmer stays even once it's dried, which is so nice because some paints, some golds, they don't last. Like it just becomes sort of a yellow, gross color. But this one lasts, and I love that. So I'm going to take this same small brush, and I'm just going to add a little bit of gold to the stars, kind of like what we were doing before with the white. I'm just adding a titch of gold. To each star. And it just provides some shimmer, some brilliance. Okay, with this gold, I'm going to go back and cover some of this. I'm just going to turn this orange kind of into some gold. Add some strokes down there. And here as well. Yeah, that's right. Okay, this is, oh, I like that. I'm just going right over the white, over the red, down. And I really like the way that looks. You just have to become like kind of carefree and go with the flow. If you think of something to do, just do it. And if you don't like it, you can fix it later. Adding a little bit more red back on that. I'm going to add even a little bit more right here. Just kind of to blend those bubble wrap things into. Okay, what else do I want to add to this? It's still looking pretty sparse, maybe? I think that's a good word. I'm not really sure what other directions I want to go. I could add some more bubble wrap. I might do that. I'm gonna add some white. I'm just gonna pour a titch of white on this wrap. And then just wipe that over. Okay, I'm gonna put this on the stars. I'm really pressing lightly, like hardly, yes, hardly at all. Hardly at all. Okay, I like the way that looks. Okay. Just adding some more paint. And I'm actually going to do some bubble wrap in a different color. The question is, which color? Okay, I'm going to use this turquoise. I think that will just look really nice with the red because turquoise and red match, and of course blue. I just think that would be a nice color to add. I might also consider adding purple. However, if I were to add purple, I think I would be careful I wouldn't want to add too much because the majority of the colors on this painting are red and blue. And of course, red and blue make purple. So I wouldn't want to kind of overdo that. I want to use some contrasting colors. So we're going to add blue to this bubble wrap. And I've used the same sheet, oh my goodness, the same sheet of bubble wrap for every different color that I've used. So if they blend a little bit, it is a-okay. I'm not concerned at all. And I'm going to apply this right here where I already have some bubbles, but where it will just add some more color. like so, like so. Alrighty. Yeah, I'm really wishing that I had done, I'm really wishing I had done these white stars larger. So if I were really concerned about this painting, I would definitely go back and just add to the edges of them, make them bigger, because I think they kind of get lost in this blue rectangle. You know what? I might just actually do that because it is kind of bothering me. Okay, maybe I am a perfectionist at times. So yeah, I'm just going to add a little bit around the edges. So go ahead and listen to your music while I'm just adding to these stars that I did too small. I knew they were going to be too small before I even did them, but I used that little cardboard thing anyways, so that's okay. I'm just going to go back and add a little bit to these. So everyone, you can just work on painting, add some more colors, listen to your music, fix your stars if you need to, like I do.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the painting that Laura created for you. And what did you want to tell them about the stars for their customers?
Yeah, just a reminder to print off the stencils if you want to use stencils. Of course, like people can freehand them if they're comfortable with that, but it is helpful to have the stencils. So just a reminder to print them off beforehand. And
yes, and people love stencils. If you haven't seen the painted prayer behind me, if you have not seen that tutorial yet that I've done on Facebook, I've also posted it on my YouTube channel. Oh my gosh, I had a group of 30 women that were just like kids in a candy store playing with these stencils.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. So make sure, as you go to Michael's, Hobby Lobby, use those 40% off coupons and buy a stencil when you go. And they're not very expensive. And then you can just start stockpiling what you have and then just bring them to your paint parties. People love, love, love them. So I hope you enjoyed it. Any final thoughts?
have fun and don't worry about it being perfect. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, that's great. I know that's the thing. Everybody's is going to turn out different, and you want that at the paint parties. You don't want them to all be exactly perfect. So encourage that individuality, I guess we should say.
For sure.
So awesome. Thank you, Laura, so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And everybody, if you would, please post a picture after you have painted Laura's painting. Post a picture in the group so we can see it. We'd love to see what kind of take you did on it.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.